as you know, we've done the documentary series with Daz Morris, and then after we did about 6 hours the other day, we realised we'd not spoke about loads of stuff. So we've not actually, Daz has not actually changed clothes. It's just because this will get thrown into the other. So we're back, strangely enough, at the Reebok as we know it, Macron, University of Bolton Stadium, whatever they call it. And there's only Daz Morris can walk in a room, and the gaffer walks right into him and says, "When you're coming back with your Thai boxing, you should never have gone." Now, for a guy who had levelled at him all sorts of things about not being able to go back to the Reebok, is that not just an honest account of just what's happened, Darren?
Every time I come in here, the general manager comes up to me and asks me, when are you coming back? I mean, I've said it before, we probably won't, but never say never. Would we come back in here? Only probably for nostalgia purposes, if we ever did come back. Just simply the fact it's not big enough.
Now, you didn't say that to me, Darren. You just said Rumble at the Reebok returns and you're going to get me a date. Right, I'm kidding, but
So,
you know what, Darren? If I hadn't seen that with my own eyes, I'd have probably disbelieved it. I'd be quite honest with you. But for the general manageress,
she's the GM, yeah.
the GM, to ask you in front of me, who she doesn't really know, she'll probably recognise me in 2 weeks when I'm here with Brian Calder, to come back.
She's asked me, she's been here since day one. She was here when she was one of the operations managers when we did the very first Rumble at the Reebok.
And now she's the gaffer.
And now she's the big boss, cheese.
How much more prompting do you need, my friend? I've spoke to Sandy, Shane, on the way up. They're in.
I've spoke to every man whose dog over the past 2 weeks since these interviews gone out to. And the same question gets asked by everybody.
And they know you're sitting down with interviews with a novice like me. So your passion's there, mate. You're refereeing. You can't let go.
It's not about letting go, mate. It's about promoting's a business. As much as the sport is hobbyist type sport, will it ever reach real professional heights where people will make a living out of it? Probably not in this country. You know, you've got the Petrosians, they make a living. You've got Pinker, he makes a living. And argumentatively, you know, Liam and people, you know, some of the top fighters make a living out of coaching. They get the money for fighting, but the money they're being paid isn't enough to actually sit back and say, I'm a professional Thai boxer, all I do is fight and I can live off it. It's not enough money, so they have to coach.
The guys on one championship, they're making a living, do you think?
They're making decent money, it's still not a living in it.
No.
You know, I mean, to give you a trade-off idea, I've got a lad who's just signed a 3-fight MMA contract for $31,000 for 3 fights. $31 grand. It's almost 1 for 1 anyway for 3 fights. Is the level comparable? Stood up? No.
No.
You know, good C class, early B class is the general level. It really is the general level. You've got some exceptions to that. Brendan Loughnane, people like that who've got an extremely high level of striking. But is that still comparable to the top 1%, Liam, Jordan, Charlie, etc., Reece McAllister, Chris Whittle? You know, they're very, very top at these weight divisions. Keith, Paul Kapowitz. Would any of them actually be able to trade 1 for 1 with these guys? No, but they're not fighting Thai, they're fighting MMA. So, you know, there's a lot of Thai purists who watch MMA and go, dog shit. Look at what they're doing. You don't have to be that skillful. You know,
to get that sort of earnings.
No, honestly. I mean,
that probably brings us on to a little bit what we spoke about last time and didn't record, about the dynamics behind it all, Darren. Now, we go on about ticket sales in Thai boxing. People disbelieve me when I say Atton was still selling his own tickets, Josh Warrington still selling tickets. These guys graft themselves, don't they?
Promoting's a business. That's the first and foremost of it. It's a business. You can say what you want about promoters. People say, oh, promoters are money grabbers. But promoting's a business. And it's a risky business. And anybody who's ever promoted will agree with what I'm saying. Anybody who's never promoted will go, you're talking crap. It's quite simple. I'll give you the basic layout. This is doing a big show. So if you take a small show and you take out the bits that aren't needed, So your fight card on a big show, 2010, our card was 10 to 15 grand. 2013-14, our card was 30 grand. So as things change, people want more money. The normal A-class purse was around 500 quid. The average A-class purse on a big show, what we were doing was coming in sort of between 9 and 1500, with the top earners 5-10 grand. And you know, not everybody's going to get a £10,000 purse, but there's that 1% eliteness that command that sort of money. Should they get it? Yeah, they've earned it. Pinker was on massive money. Liam, when he was due to fight Greg, was on big money.
So as as the home fighter, then as a promoter, are you still leaning on that main event fighter to get you a return off his own back?
You're leaning on everybody. A conversation I had with somebody a few years ago was, I won't fight anyone domestically, but in an international opponent. Right, alright, how many tickets are you going to sell? Well, why does that matter? Well, I'll tell you why it matters. Because A, you want paying X. B, your opponent wants paying Y. I have to get hotels and flights and food for these guys while they're here. So now, if you want 500 quid and he wants 500 quid, there's a grand. The flights are a grand, the hotel is a grand. So now we're 3 grand in. Tickets are 25 quid, yet you want £5 commission or £10 commission or the 30 quid, whatever. So let's say the £30, but your fighter wants a tenner commission, because inherently that's what he wants. But I've got to get £3,000 back in ticket sales, and then hopefully, this is after his commission, and hopefully he's have to sell enough that I make of it, because the guy flying in from Italy, Spain, France.
So if fighter A at home doesn't do 150 tickets, you're in the hole?
Yeah, of course you will. Now, don't get me wrong, you'll have some incidental fights where you'll have some C-class novice who's not being paid. First C-class, big show, he'll actually go out and he'll sell 100 tickets. He'll take his ticket commission, so that's his butty for doing it, but you'll make a load of money because it hasn't cost you anything to put the fight on, really. But you'll have big names that won't sell anything. I'll give you a prime example. Andrew Tate fought at main event City. He fought McGovern. We were expecting massive things. Andrew Tate cost me a fortune. He sold 4 tickets. 4 tickets. He didn't cover his purse. He didn't cover his petrol expenses. He didn't cover the hotel room. He certainly didn't cover anything near like Joe McGovern. Joe only just...
Team Tate came in one car with all the supporters. As good as.
Either way, that fight we lost money on. Did that fight generate enough external interest to make people's decision? I'm going to go to main event or I'm going to watch X Factor. Let me think about that for a minute. Well, Andrew Tate's fighting on it. Well, yeah, we'll go there then. No. So, was there enough external interest in it? No. In that one fight. Don't get me wrong, people like to watch Andrew. He's a very talented guy. Promoting's a real fine line between somebody sat at home. I'm going to go to a show because I'm a Thai boxing purist and I'm going to attend the show anyway. I'm going to go because I want to watch this and this. So you need to make sure that this and this is attractive enough to get him off the couch away from the TV, or stop him going to the boozer, or talk the wife into, I know you wanted to go to a nice restaurant, but can we actually go to a Thai boxing show? When Liam fought Sanchai on Legends, when Dan put that on, Fairfield Hall was packed, and I mean packed. But back then, you never got to watch Liam fight. Liam fought in the UK maybe once a year. Sometimes he didn't. You'd see him once every 2 years. And because of who he was and where he got himself to in the sport, people came out because they wanted to see this guy fight. Now, twice a year on Yokkao, it dilutes the interest. Taking that away from Liam, taking that away from Yokkao. When you dilute the interest so much, you can only go to the same people so many times. Say, I'm fighting next week, do you want to come and watch me fight? There's only so much money, and people will only want to watch you come and spangle somebody so many times before it's the same old thing.
I know you spoke, glowingly there about the business side of it, but on the main event, or whatever name you called it at the time, you still provided places for the juniors,
So, on
which
road-
was very, very commendable, because you could have filled it with a couple of extra ticket-selling C-class fighters.
but only again, we were trying to promote. Our vision of promoting was completely different to everybody else's. John Taylor's is a complete international card. Yeah, he'll bring in a team from the next country against a load of Brits, and that's how he does it. Brian's main card is the same. He'll bring in the best of the world versus the rest, which is great. We did it differently. We tried to keep us as domestic as we possibly could, up to the point where the fighter would say, "There's no more domestic fights for me." So we'd have to bring in a foreign opponent. But then that foreign opponent couldn't be Juan from Italian Express or Yui from the local Chinese chipper. We needed to find credible opponents. And credible opponents know their worth. The days have gone of it's a bit of a road trip to England, or we'll go over there and fight for free, or you send us a fighter, I'll send you one. At that level, that's not happening. So, you know, we brought in Andrei Kalubin from Liam on main event. Dan Green brokered the deal with Evgeny, who's Kalubin's manager. We paid him up front, which was massively risky, especially in the Thai boxing world. You're sending money to Belarus. You've got no way of getting that money back. If his goldfish had toothache and he wasn't able to get on the plane, or there was a visa issue or anything like that, that was down the drain. Not only would we lose the money we'd sent Kalubin, we'd lose Liam, would have to pay Liam his purse because he trained and he was ready to fight, and he would have had to refund out 90% of his ticket buyers. Some still would have come to watch the show, but the majority come to watch that fight. So it's a massively risky business. So all these people who sit back and say, the promoters are money grabbing, this, that and the other.
Yeah, and the game's easy.
Yeah, let me tell you, promoting is the hardest thing ever. I've had the same conversation with Dan Green and with Brian. I sat up here with Brian once. We sat in probably the same seats we're sat in now. And we sat, and people walking past, look, them two didn't talking. There's no ill will between me and Brian. And I said to him, where are you going to go next? And he went, what do you mean? I said, well, there's no more super fights. Name me a super fight. And I'll ask you the same question. Name me one domestic super fight in the UK at the moment. Name one. Just one.
There may be the odd one, but there's certainly not enough to put half a
Give me
card
one.
together.
Just give me
I
one.
can't give you one off the top of my head.
There isn't one. It doesn't exist. They don't. There's a massive gap, and I've said this a million times now. There's a big gap. There's a changing in the guard, and it will get there. But at the moment, we're still here. There's no super fight. I mean, I watched Facebook light up the other day when Lee Green apparently called out Ricky Jones, or Ricky Jones called out Lee Green. It's not a super fight. It's a good domestic local fight that's built up with a bit of animosity. Yeah, right. That'll sell locally fairly well, but I ain't a super fight.
Paul Crossley was the big fight, believe it.
Yeah.
Another story.
But
So going back to it being a horrible position to be in, what was it like at the weigh-in? I know we're going to go on to USN shortly. What was it like at the weigh-in day when Liam pulled out?
so that was USN, the first USN Arena show. That was after the point, so it was the third main event show. Everybody was there. Notably, fighters arrived late, they always do. Everybody weighed in. Greg had been on the scales, and he'd gone to Tesco. And then I got a phone call from Richard saying that Liam was out. He'd been emaciated. The weight cut hadn't gone according to plan or whatever. I can't remember the real reason. It was something to do with it was the dehydration problem. And then we were left with no main event. How do you fill that main event slot? You can't do. It was a fight of massive magnitude. It would have been the biggest domestic fight ever. I mean, Charlie and Liam became the biggest domestic fight ever, but this would have superseded that by 4 years.
But 18, 20 hours before the doors open, you've no chance of it.
Listen, because you trained by Bill Judd, the train for Harrison, They trained a specific way to fight a guy who fights a certain way. Nobody else fights like Liam. Liam does his own thing. He's got great hands, he's got great clinch, and he kicks people's legs off. And you're training for a guy that you're not going to replicate. Wotton was tall, gangly, long knees, and he trained specifically to fight a smaller guy who was mega aggressive, super experienced, and very strong. Where do you find a replacement for Liam? I mean, let's face it, where do you find a replacement for Liam full stop?
You know.
The Benui brothers fight differently. Pinker fought differently. Could you get him in at 24 hours notice? Definitely not. He's no replacement for a fight like that.
So as a promoter, 20 hours before the doors open, you're in the hole.
You just have to ride the storm, mate.
How much financially did that cost you? You've still got to pay the opponent.
So we still pay.
They're here.
So Greg, they were very good with us, to be honest. They took percentage. They didn't take the full purse. They took percentage. The majority of the people from KO came up anyway who bought tickets. We didn't end up losing a lot of them because they booked coaches and stuff. So for them
Can't
to come
cancel.
out, you know, the whole thing, it was a headache, a massive headache. Yeah, it hit us. Of course it hit us.
Messer.
Yeah. We, I mean, the main event of that show turned out to be Panakos and the Dutch lad. I can't remember his name. You know, we think of 50 million fighters. I just can't remember all the time. The show ran all right. Was it fantastic? No. I'm my own biggest critic. My own biggest critic. We used to talk about this quite a lot. It was me, Darren, and Shedden. We'd talk about it all the time. Straight after a show, I'd have to get in my car and go. I never hung around. I never came to the bar for drinks. I never socialised. I got in my car and went. And I don't know what it was. I used to get quite emotional after a show. It was like the biggest adrenaline dump ever. And I was a mess after a show. And that was no different. It was like, just get me out of the building. Get me out of this building. As soon as the final thing ended, I went to get in my car and go up. I had enough. Because you work, they're not put together, are they, in a few weeks? They're put together in a matter of months. And a big show, 6-7 months of promoting. And I mean, you're slogging your ass off. You're making 50 million phone calls every day. You're listening to people sell you the dream and deliver you a brown bag. You know what I mean? And
the day after, Sunday morning after Yokel in here when we're having breakfast, called us probably putting the date out for the March show. The date's out there probably. But so, the guys like you and Calder, it's 24/7, isn't it?
Yeah, of course it is. We were always on to the next one before the end of the last one. And that was the only way. That was me more than anybody else. That was the only way I could sort my head out. Because I knew I'd drop off right. I was straight on the phone trying to match stuff, get stuff sorted out for the next one. Talking to the Sound and Light guys. There was always a problem. They never ran smoothly. So Sound and Light guys, we use VME, who they're the best. They use Savills in here, and they do it massively a couple of times for us. But VME weren't infallible. We used to, as far as I knew, we were the only people who ever did rehearsals. We did rehearsals. We did it at every show we ever did. The dancers would do a rehearsal. Tony Dean's entrance would be done as a rehearsal. Because it was all done, it was all choreographed to music. We had PAs, so we had voiceovers for everything. Dougie McAdam used to be the MC here. When we started using Tony, not for any other reason, for just a bit of a change in tact. I remember ringing Dougie, and I needed Dougie to do the voiceover for Tony Dean. So Dougie McAdam introduced Tony Dean. You know, it's funny. But nothing ever went right. You'd run a rehearsal and you think, right, we're boxed on, open the doors. So as soon as the doors open, you can't mess with your sound, you can't mess with your light. You're in a sterile room then. Fighter A walks out, wrong entrance music. Fighter B walks out, right entrance music. Gets in, referee does this to play the White Crew music. And they'll put entrance tracks on, they won't put any fight music on. They'll just get it arse about face. And you'll be 3 fights in and me screaming at the sound desk before somebody actually gets it right. And that That was ridiculously stressful. Ridiculously stressful. I mean, it got to the point where you'd have Paul from P4 TV, and they'd be guiding the sound desk because they were that well oiled at it, because they'd done that many shows and they'd done all arts. They knew exactly, right, now you need to put that music on. When he does this, put that track on. So I'd have, you know, Paul and Claire from P4 helping out. We insisted on certain event managers from VME being on site who knew what we were looking for. The Pyro guys, Mark Thomas retired, the guy who did the Brits, so we ended up using somebody else. Oh, it was a farce. It was absolutely farcical. They let off confetti bombs when they should have let off germs. Nobody else noticed it. And backstage pulling the air out.
And could you, as the promoter and figurehead, there always has to be a figurehead, could you actually delegate much? Could you? How much did you push on to Phillips when you was with him?
In the
Phil?
early days, it was always left. It was all down to me. Then when Phil came on board, Phil took over the matchmaking, which was a massive relief. So I'd look after the promoting, not the promoting, sorry, the promotion. I'd look after what went on in that room. So I was the director on the night, if that made sense. I put in the razzmatazz, the glitz, the glimmer. I put all that part in. We'd set the room out. I'd bring the sponsors. Phil would look after the financials and the fighters. And Darren would look after the performance side of it, the judging, the referee, the timekeeping. We all had a different role to play. Kirsty and Gemma, they'd look after door entrance and what happened on that side of life. We all had a different part to play. And it worked really, really well. I came right away from the matchmaking completely. I'd have a couple of fights and say, right, I want these fights on. And I'd match them fights, and then Phil would match the rest of it. But we never argued over it. We never came to a point where we'd ever have a standoff between, you know, who's doing what. We all had a specific role, and we'd all talk.
Well, Phil's a great matchmaker, though. Very, very good matchmaker.
Shedding was ridiculously analytical. There used to be a time when I'd say to Phil, I'll give you a fighter name. He'd tell you who he fought, what round he knocked somebody out. He'd tell you the lot. He was like an almanac of Thai boxing, and he'd watch everything. He'd sit for hours watching shows back on the internet, where I couldn't. And he just worked so well. He also knew who the big ticket sellers were, so he could match the undercard to help prop up the main card. He was fantastic at what he did. Really, really good at what he did. He put his heart and soul into it, and Phil took it harder than anybody else when people let us down, or we didn't get the right support. He took it really, really badly. I mean, when main event kind of came to an end, there was a Facebook post by Phil. He put it out. Everybody saw it, and people thought he'd lost the plot. I was in Greece on holiday.
Oh, he's had a fella.
Yeah, he was in Greece on holiday. He'd had a few sambucas. He ran me up and he said, "I've had enough of this." And he went, boom, pressed the button.
Made him have it.
And I remember reading it thinking, oh my God, there's no coming back from this.
Well, you know what? He was bang on.
Listen, he was on the money. It probably wasn't the wisest way of doing it at the time, but what am I going to say he shouldn't have done it? No. I'll back him 100%.
So going back to where we started, when are you going to have to ring him this afternoon and say, I've just been having this chat in a Reebok?
I tell you now, mate, unless either of us won that 169 million last night and we're not telling each other about it. Like I said, we sat and we spoke about doing it, just for shits and giggles. And literally 10 minutes later we were talking about playing Cardiff the following week in the Prem. It's not there, the fights aren't there. Mate, we talked about doing main event MMA. We even played with the small glove idea. We were going to do it, the cage Muay Thai. And all the Thai boxing Nazis, oh, you can't do that. We went to Martin Hogan's show, and he had cage Muay Thai. There was me, Phil, Jesse Saunders, and Chris Podesta. And we all looked at each other. Tight small gloves. We were the biggest Thai boxing Nazis on the planet. You can't do this. 3 threes. Jesus Christ.
Look at it now.
After one round, I would never been so sold on anything in my life. So, scoring. Let me just digress and I'll come back. I do a rules meeting when I'm refereeing, and I say the same thing every time. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but if you punch somebody in the face for 5 rounds and you're getting kicked in the knee back and you lose the fight, you really need to go and reevaluate what you're doing. And people look at it with blank expression, and the people who know what they're doing acceptably nod, and other people have gone, what's he talking about? So we all know, Thai boxing scoring, that a body kick and a knee thrown with effect will score higher than punching somebody in the face, unless the punch drops the person or sends the head back that violently that the legs go. Okay? Not in small gloves, going back to where I started from. Then small gloves change the demographic completely. You hit somebody in a pair of sandy 4-ounce gloves and you tan them out to be getting locked up for GH. I watched Paul Budden fight on Martin Hogan's show, and I have never seen a scrap like it. I don't think they bothered kicking, because there was that much damage from the small glove. The fights were ridiculously exciting. I've never seen anything like it. I was absolutely infused by the whole thing. That is the way forward. That is what the masses want to see. That's where, you know, that's where it's at. The masses want. They don't want beautiful clinical panicos. They want
violence.
Harrison's gum shield out in the 4th round, screaming, "Come on!" swinging. That's what they're looking for. They want the fight. So, your purists will look at the lovely delivery and all the rest of it. Your everyman just wants a really good scrap. Why do you don't like MMA? Because when it goes to the floor and they start doing a bit of man love, which is very technical by the way, but unless you understand it,
we don't understand
you won't
it.
get it. You want 2 people stood toe to toe, knocking the living granny out of each other, and that was ridiculous. I've never seen anything like it. It's something, one of the best fighting I've ever seen. How good it is for the combatant's health, that's anybody's guess. I don't like head guards. I'm quite against head guards. Me and Dave Jackson once spoke about it years ago. There was a study about rotational force in head guards. I'm not a head guard lover. Some people really like him, and you know, should you be punched in the head with a 4-ounce glove? Probably not. But then you've got people doing bare knuckle now. Is it any different? No. So that back then was, you know, that was the way to go. But trying to sell the formula over here to people that have been honed on 5-3s, full Rambuie, you know, the mass respect. Back in the day, the respect was huge. Now, Conor McGregor changed a lot of it when he's trash talking. I mean, there's plenty of trash talk before it, but he's the king of trash talking. We tried to sort of up the ante a little bit with our matchmaking and get people to goad one another. It didn't really work because ultimately,
respect in it.
Muay Thai is still a martial art and it's respectful. Even though MMA is based off martial arts, the respect side of it is pretty much in the bin. So, you know, yeah, it's getting the right balance is the difference between having a packed room and an half empty room.
Right, we'll stop that there. We'll have a brew and then we'll have a quick chat about the point, 2 lots of USNs and Birmingham Barclaycard Arena.